Greetings and salutations.
Heidi ho! What's up, guys? Thanks for waiting. Just not even really that hectic of a morning. Hazley's lip was burning. Man, there's such a delay on the like what you guys are seeing to what I'm saying, and it always trips me out that it's that long. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Today we're gonna do something a little different. Well, maybe this isn't different. Maybe all the other stuff was different, and then this is what is supposed to be happening. We're going to talk a little bit about what I know most about, except for, computer networking, Microsoft software. What did I say? Networking, computer networking, software, administration systems and administration systems management servers, all those things. But what I know most about other than that is federal sentencing, crimes, the system, the prison, the recidivist, all of it. I've done it all. I'm familiar with it all. I know what happens when you F up just a tiny bit, what happens when you F up a lot of bit. And then there's all kinds of different variables. And we're going to talk about those variables today. We're going to talk a little bit about white collar crime versus I'm not even going to call it blue collar crime, but street crime. The original title I was gonna call this was gonna be what was it? Street hustler, or no, convict versus con. And the con would have been the white collar criminal, but I didn't like it. But that's kind of where I was getting at. Whenever I hear con now, I just think of Tommy, not Stiggs, of course, but the old Tommy, the new and improved, better, not even associated a little bit with the old Tommy. Lucky him. And that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to do a juxtaposition to some sentencing. We're going to do a juxtaposition to some of the crimes itself and what kind of harm it does to society at large. That's what we're going to try to do. Who knows what's going to happen? It's always a crapshoot. I just might start talking and freak out, punch my computer, punch myself in the, who knows what's going to happen? Okay. I'll see you in a minute. I'll start to respond.
Good morning to the chaos we ride.
So when I get texts, my own ideas,
show.
So before we get started, I'm going to check in with you guys. I'm going to check in with you guys a little bit first. Just kind of waiting for more of you guys to get in, but that's okay. Good morning, Kim. How are you doing today? Surviving together. Miss Mac Attack. James Collins Cares. Good morning to you. Shell W. Good morning to you. Danette. Hey, how are you doing? Grateful 1111. Thank you so much for the super chat this morning. It was really generous, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I need coffee, Grateful, and I I'm gonna try to finagle some without leaving this chair. We're gonna see if I can do that. It'll be almost magic if I can. Who else was? And I hope you're feeling better, Grateful. I read your comment earlier when I was going back and forth trying to get content for the show, trying to print out some things, deal with Hazley. She's crying. She has eczema really bad on her. She sucks on her hair sometimes, and her eczema will. This is kind of a new thing. Will like kind of get like right here, but it kind of went to her lips, and we all know how bad cracked lips feel. I mean, it hurts so bad, and I just I kind of over react sometimes. I'm trying to be better. But yeah, I overreact a little bit. But Mariana came home to take care of the situation. They're going to go anyway. Sam splain. You're a big Sam splainer. Good morning to you. Who else do we have? ASAP, what's going on? How are you doing this morning? I want to thank my amazing moderators too. You guys are awesome. I couldn't do it without you, right? Like the me interacting with the community portion. There's no way I could do it without you guys, and I am grateful. I am grateful. 11. So good morning to you. Good morning, Awakened. How are you doing this morning? I am going to check emails again today. I'm kind of staying on it. I'm doing my best. I know that. Tan Louise, how are you doing this morning? Woofy Woof, good to see you, Woof. I'm so glad you're here. I just want to give you your wrench back so bad, but maybe someday. John Lazon, how are you doing? Hey everyone, sorry I'm busy with a mega project, like a mega pint. I'm busy with the mega project, but I love you all. Be careful of Danette with that wrench. I love you too, John. I really do. One of these days, maybe when we do the show with John, I'm going to talk about John and his first presence in the community and how that's evolved, and some like struggles in the middle of it. And that is a good human being. Absolutely. Good morning to you, Jackie Azure. I always want to say Azure, but it's probably Azure or Azure. Azul. Good morning to you. So I'm so glad you're here. James Collins Cares JCC in the Heezy, my managing moderator. And oh man, it really jumped down. What the heck? Oh, because you guys are doing comments. I know I seen Ben Bacon Bits in here. I hope he didn't leave. Ben, Sam, do not read this. That's what Ben said. Okay, I won't, but I just did. Hold on. He probably said Sam's a little delayed. I am so sorry, guys. I'm late. I don't know if I apologized when I first came on, but I am so sorry. I want to see what Ben said. Well, there's Grateful. There's me making excuses for being a late guy. Well, I didn't see what Ben said. It must have been awesome. But good morning to you, Ben, sir. And I think that's everyone. Cliff Ann, how are you doing this morning? And I'm going to go back down to the bottom. We're going to start from scratch. That's it. So you guys all know I went to federal prison. I went to federal prison for drug trafficking. There were some charges in the beginning. I had this. So I was drug trafficking from Mexico to LA, from LA to Colorado, from Colorado to Montana. And eventually, upon sentencing, the judge overstated that I was managing a meth pipeline from Mexico to Montana. It was a little overstated, I guess is the best way we can put it. It was a little overstated. And you guys all know a year and a half to 2 years before that, I was a systems engineer in MCSE for Microsoft. So there's all these huge, big things. And like when I first went to prison and I would call some of my old friends or get a hold of them, like, hey, I'm in prison. I'm sorry if I did anything to hurt you on my way in. These are my friends that were normal citizen type people. And it's so funny that I even have to like separate myself from them because I was them, I guess I am now again, but they all thought that I committed some kind of computer white collar crime, like, fraud or stealing or something to do with computers, because why wouldn't I, right? I was an MCSE for a very, very large bank. It was one of my clients through Microsoft. So Microsoft has clients that they do big things for. And I was a contractor for that. And the bank was Great Western Bank. I don't know if you guys remember that bank. That was the bank that I actually designed PCs that each bank president at the RBD, which is Retail Banking Division, that each president would have on their desk. I designed all those, all the the software that was installed, and then all the hardware stuff. Anyways, I don't want to digress too much into that. I like talking about it because I don't get to talk about it often. So maybe I'll save that for another show. But I had access to banking, and then Washington Mutual bought them out. And then I really got involved, and I was integrating the two systems, one campus into the other. One campus was this used Novell, which was another networking software, we'll call it for lack of better terms. They used Novell. The other bank used Microsoft, networking, and I had to integrate the two. Anyways, I had access to banks. I guess I could have just said that. But so all my friends thought that that's what I went down for. When they found out that I had become a drug addict and started dealing drugs, it was a lot. I lost a lot of friends, people that didn't know, because I stayed away from them, right? And I was immersed in the Hollywood drug scene, immersed so much that, I was living hotel to hotel, these seedy Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset Boulevard hotels that only had corn playing on their TVs. They had no regular TV. It was all just corn. I have some funny stories about that, not like the actual, S stuff, but, so, I mean, I like went down fast. And when they found out about that, I lost a lot of friends. Anyways, I like let them know. And it was a shock for a lot of people, even my mom, but my mom had found out that I started using drugs. But anyways, they didn't think for the friends that did stay, they call, not call me, but wrote me and asked me, man, how much time do you get? Will you be out, by summer? Will you be out by, I'm like, no, I got a ton of time. And they're like, what did you do? Because in the white criminal, to go to jail, being a white collar criminal and in a financial scam, most likely you're not going to go to jail. And we're going to get into that. But if you do go to jail, it's for millions, and people have been hurt by it. Not like corporations or stockholders, not those people, but like, individuals, people's savings, life savings, retirement accounts. When those things get effed with, they pay attention, and someone needs to pay. And I didn't do anything like that. I was a drug dealer. I drug trafficked, got a ton of time. And, but I met a lot of white collar criminals in there. So basically what I want to talk about first is the white collar crime. I said all that just to give the people that don't know a little bit of history about me. And, so I want to say is that like white collar crime often falls under the radar of, like public outrage instead of, the neighborhoods getting bad. But it causes massive societal harm. Unlike street level criminals, white collar offenders often operate in environments of low risk and high reward. exploiting systems with minimal threat of real consequences, which is what I was just talking about. And I remember explaining that to my friends, and they thought, well, doing drugs, or selling drugs shouldn't be worse than doing that, but it is. And that's a whole nother show, right? Is it just, the government, and, the rich guys, trying to keep the poor people locked up under their thumb? But experts point to narcissistic and antisocial personality disorders as a common psychological traits among those offenders, traits which are difficult to change and are deeply tied to repeated fraudulent behavior, meaning that if the recidivism rate for white collar crime is about 50%, which seems high. I didn't look into what like drug criminal recidivism is, because there's so many factors, where they a drug addict or a drug dealer, where they, a lot of people are addicted to the actual dealing. So there's lots of factors with that, but historically, white collar criminals have faced lenient sentences, sometimes being sent to so-called country club. Everyone used to call the feds the country club. And I always wonder, why do they do that? And I eventually ended up at a prison that actually did have a golf course. Well, they called it a golf course. It was actually like a putt-putt golf, but we could check out little putters, and they were like metal steel putters. And it was I think an 8-hole or 9-hole putt-putt golf course. And so that was the country club part of it. But, they have tennis and things like that. And, the low security and minimum security are not as bad, as the higher securities. So they are kind of country club-esque. What's this camera doing? Like Bernie Madoff was a pretty famous white collar criminal. And he got a ton of time. He's going to die in there. He's never going to be let free because he hurt so many people. Hold on, guys, real quick. But I want to watch something with you guys. We're going to get into the marijuana sentencing part, or like people who went to prison for marijuana, and should they have gone to prison for marijuana? And does it seem almost like a white collar crime if they go to prison for having a dispensary, actually having a store? But because they fall into drug crimes, I'm sorry, I got totally sidetracked from something. Because they got busted with, there's a drug involved, the sentences were a lot higher. Those are getting fixed now, but people were getting 30 years, 20 years, a lot of 10 years, which was the minimum mandatory. And it, thank God they changed, and a lot of people did get out, and, presidents have been letting some of those people that have been over sentenced out. But the question of the show is, I'm gonna look at it: street hustle versus Wall Street hustler. Who does more time? Who do you guys think does more time? And put a 2 in the chat if you think it's the street hustler. Put a 4 in the chat if you think it's the Wall Street guy. So 2 for drug dealer, 4 for white collar criminal. And while you guys do those in, hey Thompson, how's it going, Thompson? Good to see you. Tommy Stiggs in the house. Hey, what's going on, brother? I totally sidetracked. I was going to do the chat first before I got into the topic, but I was so excited and I feel so late that I just like went right into the topic. So man, I apologize, guys, for doing that. I was gonna, of course, I did make some notes about this. So let me see what you guys think. I should just did a poll. Street crime, street crime. Did I say do the most time or the less time? Yeah, most time. Yeah, street crime, street crime, street crime. The street hustler may get more time because many times it's repeat offenses. That's right. Absolutely. And the what is that? The 851 see if you have a previous drug offense, you go back to the feds, it's automatically double. Of course, you might be able to plead that out. Possibly, it just depends on how bad they want you. With any federal crime, it's really how bad do they really want you? Well, not any, but if you're one to get away with something, we can use, some mobsters that have gotten away with a lot. And I don't want to name names of them, but they finally shot after him. Al Capone, they shot at him. And I don't mean like with a pistol. I mean, like they were gunning for him because he was beating them left and right. Then of course, Gotti. So yeah, of course everyone's right. It was kind of it does depend. It does depend. I guess what I wanted to do was talk about the juxtaposition of harm. Who does the more harm? Does the drug dealer do more harm, or does the white collar criminal do more harm? Because an example is, I hate being late because I feel like I get out of my groove. But anyways, the only one person went to prison and for causing the Great Recession. One person, and there was I think 6 people that were that were responsible for that. I was listening to a guy this morning, and yeah, there was I can't remember how many people were responsible for that, but it was crazy. Despite massive fraud that led to the Great Depression, only one person went to prison. In contrast, the savings loan scandal in the 1990s saw 860 plus convictions over the savings and loan. Do you guys remember that? When Wells Fargo was doing that subprime lending, everyone could get a house. It was nuts. You know what? And I almost bought an apartment building. I was this close before my wife was killed. I almost bought an apartment building, and because my brother Ben had just bought one in Hollywood, and he still owns that today, and that's his retirement. But I'm glad I didn't, because I was buying it with subprime conditions, high interest, extended loans. They'll refinance you if you get behind, and they just keep you buried, and basically they own the property. But yeah, 860 plus people went away for that. But the thing I wanted was but with drug guidelines, me as the next trafficker, I would say that there's definitely more harm done with the drug crimes, because I know there's cross crime, people stealing from their families to buy drugs that I sold, writing bad checks. This is back when you could write a check, writing bad checks to buy the drugs that I stole, maybe sticking up somebody, and if I'm dumping pounds and pounds of a drug into a certain state like Montana, which I did, those drugs spread, right? Where I drop it off, there's a bunch of guys, and that all spreads, and there's a lot of crime that paid for that drug. So I would say that that the drug crimes cause more damage. But some would say that it's the reverse. Of course, I don't know. It's, I guess like Tommy just said, it just depends, right? I guess what did I say earlier? The outrage, the societal, when people are questioning, is the bank safe for me to put money in? Who knows what kind of harm that will cause, and what effects that has on the community. That the savings and loan scam, that was heavy, and that a lot of people, in the end, what was it, like 1998, everybody lost everything, their homes. They weren't able to withdraw their life savings from their bank. So I don't know. I thought that I would process this with you guys and that I would come up with a conclusion, but really I don't have a conclusion to that. There really is no winner or, what's worse. It's all bad. It's all bad. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little clips to show you guys. And, I don't even know if they're necessary. I wanted to show you all the people that were getting these huge sentences for marijuana. And then I do have like the government sentencing guideline, and maybe I just got discombobulated because I was running late, and I stepped out of my square a little bit, but that's okay because this is the After the Bar show. It's always a mess. Right? Can I get an amen? Tommy Six says, I got hit. That type of lending. I had what was called a negative amortization loan. It was a nightmare. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's nuts. I've heard of that. Just the negative part. It sounds upside down, in a loan situation, and that's probably kind of what it was. Did anyone die as a result? Probably not with that blue collar, comparatively speaking. I'm gonna see what Kim was saying. Saying hi, have hand therapy. Nana too. You have been in our prayer list, for a month now, and we just keep praying for you. And I hope you're feeling better, and good luck with that. With your therapy today. I'm sorry you're in pain. I hope they're taking care of that pain and you're being careful with that, because it can get tricky. Yeah, look, I see a lot of you like saying, yeah, my dad lost money, Jackie, tutu all day long. Danette, Boho was learning to type or being 56. Tan Louise, I know you're from Great Britain. The state would be like just local crimes, drinking and driving, assault, family partner member assault. If you get into it with a family member and there's physical violence. A federal crime would be like taking drugs across state lines. Because we have 50 states. I haven't. Okay, thanks, babe. Across state lines, white collar crimes, stealing from a bank, robbing a bank, like sticking up a bank with a pew, or even a note. Anything that has anything to do with fraud, like mortgage fraud, things like that. Those are all federal crimes. And then there's all kinds of like other like little weird ways to do it. Like if you live in DC, which is in a state, or but yeah, I hope that was explained it. It must be hard to understand it being from another country. So I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to show you guys the sentencing guidelines, and then we're going to start there. And then I'll talk about what my sentencing guidelines were. Let's go over here. So what this is a, let me go to the guideline first. That's how we get to our numbers on the guideline. And I'm going to show you guys that too. It's pretty interesting. I think Tommy went to the feds. I'm not sure if he did. I'm almost positive he did. So these are sentencing this is the sentencing table for the sentencing guidelines. Let me blow that up for you guys. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to blow that up. Wish I had background music. I think we tried that and it was too much.
Don't you dare touch my half-eaten one.
Krispy Kreme? Thanks, honey.
Did you hear me?
What's that?
Don't you dare eat my half-eaten one.
Oh, I won't. I won't. Thanks, son.
Love you.
Love you too. Krispy Kreme. I haven't had coffee yet because taking care of Hazley. Okay, we'll be able to blow this up a little bit so you guys can see a little better. So see up here at the top, and I hope this is entertaining, guys. But so up here at the top is the criminal history category. So if you have like 1 or 2 felonies, now there's a lot of like rules and laws because it's our government and they make up all these things to make them feel important. But category 1 up here at the top is if you have like 1 or 2 felonies, sometimes 1 or 2 felonies in your criminal history. 2 is 2 to 3. Sometimes you can sneak a 4th in there. And then it's like within the past 10 years or 12 years, it changes every once in a while. Then 3, and then it just goes on. And then if you're like a 6 or more, which is almost everybody that I knew in the USPs, which is the high security, they were all criminal history of 6. Their numbers jump greatly. So if we move down on the left side is your offense level. So I have a counterfeiting charge. Okay. That counterfeiting charge was in zone B because there was no real victim except for like some, stores or whatever. I didn't pass it. I just made it for a drug addict girlfriend because I was tired. Remember, I was tired of her coming to the tattoo shop, asking me for money all the time. And I was with somebody in the feds that, explained to me how to make money. And it was super easy. So I did it and I got busted for it. And I was in zone B with a criminal history of 3. And so I got 12 to 18 months. And I think I did 14 months on that. When I went down for trafficking, my criminal offense level was a 32. And I'm going to show you how they got that number. Was a 32 down here at the bottom. And you can see all those numbers going across in the 32, 121 to 151. That's for a 1 criminal history. And then they just get more and more and more till a level 6 with my criminal history, or with a level 6 with my offense level. Say I had like 6 felonies or whatever in my past, which I know guys that are around me all the time that have 14 felonies, 20 felonies, at like meetings or at church. That's 210 months to 262 months. And that could be, just for, selling a couple times to a CI and if it weighs enough to get you that criminal offense level, that's how much time you're going to get. I believe these guidelines are fair. What year was it? In 2008, there was like a sentencing revolution. It was a sentencing backslide is what they called it. And they made these guidelines advisory. So now they don't have to stick to these guidelines like they did when I got in trouble. They don't have to stick to them, but the judges use them as kind of a starting point, or they'll hear the details, the facts of the case, and then they can make a decision if they're going to go up or down. But with drug cases, there's minimum mandatories. Those didn't change. Anything like with methamphetamine, anything over 500 grams is a minimum mandatory of 10 years. Now, if there was a gun involved, that's going to be 15. Because it'll be armed criminal. Well, I guess if it depends on your criminal history. If you have a previous gun, you would be what's called an armed career criminal, and it's called the ACC, and then it's a minimum mandatory of 15. And then like what Tommy Stiggs was saying, he was saying it just depends on your criminal history. Say I had a drug charge 5 years before that. Maybe say I sold a joint, or when I'm not going to use a joint, but I sold a gram of cocaine or something to somebody 5 years before that. Then I get this new charge with a gun and a drug sale, and that was a 15. Now it's going to be doubled, so it's going to be a minimum. It's going to be a minimum mandatory of 30 years. I think it's a 951 or 851C or B. I can't remember, or it's all the same, but there's different. That will keep you out of trouble. That will keep you out of trouble. Like I've said before, I got in the game late. I was 30 when I first realized I was a drug addict. Of course, I was a workaholic before that, but so I knew how to live clean and sober. But I am an addict. Is it a disease or not a disease? That could be argued. I believe God is the great physician. I feel like the Holy Spirit has removed that from me. But I do have to be vigilant and watch my perceptions. And I'm totally digressing into something different, but that you guys expect that. So that's the sentencing guidelines. Now it's pretty interesting. There's these calculators they have online. That's what I was showing you guys here a second ago. And I'm just going to drag that over there. They have these calculators. I'll just do the one drug. So I already have in here cocaine. This video won't be monetized because I knew I was going to talk about drugs. And I don't want to say C and be all cryptic. It's okay. So I put in there the substance is cocaine. I entered the weight. I'm just going to put 4 ounces. So that's a 1/4 pound. That's a pretty average weight for a drug dealer to have. If he was to get busted, you hit submit. If he was to get busted, his offense level would be a 16. And so over here, if he's a 16 and say it's his first offense, he's going to do about 21 to 27 months if the judge is cool. Now, I don't know if there's a minimum mandatory with powdered cocaine. If there might be, it might be 10 years, but I don't think 4 ounces would do it. I think 4 ounces, a first-time offender would get about 21 to 27 months. Now, how bad is he harming the community, which is the original idea of the show? With those 4 ounces, I don't know. Maybe he's doing 2 of them for personal and he's like selling to friends. Is that harming the community really? I would say no. But the difference with the white collar crime though, for a first time offense, it could be $1 million and you're not going to do any time. Now, how bad did that white collar guy stealing that $1 million from whoever, say it was, 5 people's life savings. And that guy doesn't even have to go to prison because he's a first time offender and he's got a good lawyer and they worked it out. How fair is that? So you guys were right. The drug dealers do more time, or the street thug, does do more time. And that was obvious. I think what I really wanted to talk about was just the differences on how bad who hurts society more? And I think my conclusion is that it's a wash. They both hurt society. Um, as much. I would say that the guys who are stealing from these banks and they're stealing people's life savings, or they're doing mortgage fraud. Matthew Cox from Inside True Crime, he did some Fed time for mortgage fraud. He did a lot of mortgage fraud. Now, who are those victims? He did have a couple personal victims. But he hurt a lot of other people too. It's his story, so I'll let him tell it. I can't. Well, basically, I can't remember like the details of it, but he hurt a lot of people, and most of the people that I think that the people that he hurt the most, and I'm not judging him, not at all, are the people that he brought in with him on his scheme, and told them that that they weren't breaking the law. Basically, I mean, if they were aware and they kept their eyes open, I think they would have seen that he was breaking the law. But I think those are his biggest victims, are the people that worked for him, that he convinced, forging a name, or, that it's okay, we just need to get it through the bank, and they're not here today, or whatever. He did that might not even be accurate information. I don't know. But it's something like that. People did go down around him, and, a lot of them told on them. And then we didn't even get into that. There's a, so say it. Let's go back to the drug offense. Is this interesting to you guys? I'm gonna check the chat. Or do I feel like it's interesting to me, but if it seems kind of dead, and I know a few of you be like, no, this is cool, but if it feels kind of dead, we can change the subject for real. Like, I can talk about anything today. Hazley's safe and okay. I got a cup of coffee. I got some Krispy Kremes. And we'll just call the thumbnail clickbait for all the not for our community, but for the the people that catch it on the thing. Jackie, June 7th on Synchronized Souls podcast is our next one. Hey, no advertising your podcast. Just kidding, John James. Oh, that's funny. If anyone's got a show or a favorite show, a creator, feel free to put it up there. If you want the link on, send it to a mod, or send it to me in an email, and I'll post it in our chat, or I'll post it in the description. And I'll even say, this is what the show's about. James Collins Cares doing a show here. Jackie Azure really likes, Vlad TV, and we'll put links like that. I'm cool. I'm all about trying to lift everybody up. Family safe, most important. We don't care what you're talking about. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Hey, Happy Camper. Love the show. You really need to lay off the sugar, Sam. I have been. Do you guys remember, Happy Camper? Do you remember when I was like, oh man, my muscles and joints are sore and I'm having a hard time walking? But I was living on donuts. I give you my word, this is the first bite of donut I've had in probably 4 weeks. And I'm only going to eat this much. My wife is outdoor dashing right now. And the guy gave her a free thing for having to wait. That was so disrespectful. Hold on. Hey, oh, I almost had the thing on mute again. That's what Sam is on next. What am I on next? Oh, the show you were talking about? Oh, that's what I'm on next? Oh, cool. I haven't gotten a hold of my booking agent. They be booking me all the time. I'll never go on Inside True Crime again, though. I'll go on there to fight. I'm trying to fight that fool. So I know what I want to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about the psychology of a white collar criminal. And I would say that I'm looking for it real quick. Where the heck is it, guys? Oh, I haven't watched this yet. I would say that the white collar criminal is definitely more narcissistic in general. I've done some white collar crimes. And I don't think I'm a narcissist. But in general, like these guys like Bernie Madoff, they are narcissists, they are sociopaths. And that's not my diagnosis. That's, he's been diagnosed with that. But in general, there's been a study. They have to do when those guys get out, the recidivism rate's really high, right? It's like 50%. That seems pretty high to me, over half, because they'll just start a new business and do it over again, but and hide it from their PO or whatever. So they do have to do like a harm reduction, and not like a Scoville harm reduction, but rehabilitation, things like that. Have them go to like support groups and meetings, and maybe check in a little bit more. Their bank accounts are monitored completely, but there's ways to get around that. I had this thing. These traits are rarely treatable and make rehabilitation unlikely. Oh yeah, common traits are narcissistic personality disorder, self-centered worldview, and antisocial personality disorder, disregard for laws or others. I think that's even like with like famous people, and a lot of those guys who do those big crimes, they want fame, and not like in a negative way. They're stealing all that money from others so they can be the richest guy in town, have the most toys. They're not comfortable for like where they're at. I would say a minute amount of drug dealers deal drugs to be the richest guy in town. It's a very, very minute amount. They're all south of the border, and those dudes are, they're psychopaths. But I'm talking about like here in the States, most drug dealers sell to pay for their own habit, and to keep a roof over their head because they can't hold a job. They can't be high at a job all the time. But no one's out there dealing drugs and yeah, my quantities of drugs got greater and greater as I went, but it's because I thought I was smarter than everyone else. I'm like, hey, I'm this educated systems engineer, Microsoft guy, I was a manager for AT&T and that whole contract. So, I mean, like I was a manager, I can manage these guys and just get high and, be with all these girls all the time. And, but that all changed, halfway through. I didn't want nobody around me because I didn't trust anyone. I knew they were watching me. Anyways, that's a whole another story. I should do a show on that. Like when it started, when I knew they started building the case on me, because that is a really good story. What was I saying? Oh yeah. And just to pay for our own habits and to live. We're not trying to hurt people. Yeah, the drugs we sell hurt people, but these guys who steal that kind of money, they lie to themselves that it's just pay money on the computer that, or it's certain persons get hurt, or that everything's insured. Every guy that I knew in the feds that did a big bank scam or something like that, that was just doing a minute amount of time. And I rarely ran into those guys because I was in the higher security prisons mostly. They were like, oh, they have insurance. You know, everything has insurance. Everything has insurance. Well, it doesn't matter. And first of all, it's not true. It's not true. Yeah, you know, banks are insured. Everyone's insured. People are insured per se, but it doesn't always cover those kind of crimes. And if it does, what does that do to our insurance rates? Like you and me, you know, Joe Blow out here, you know, my auto insurance is crazy. It's crazy for just 2 cars. When we had 3, it was well, it wasn't that bad because it was an older car, but it was more, you know. It's going down. You know, I say crazy. I'm just talking about from what I used to pay. I pay $400 a month now for a truck, you know, a used truck and a Honda Accord. That feels nuts to me for some reason. I feel like we should only be paying like $200. Clean driving record. The little woman, she's got a clean driving record. Anyways, they lie to themselves, man. Those white collar dudes lie to themselves, and they think they're smarter than everyone else. But yeah, go back to when I thought I was smarter than everyone else. That's really why I started like getting more and more, you know, weight and like, you know, and then going to, you know, I branched out into other states, because I thought like, I mean, people would call me and ask me, they'd be like, what are you doing? I'd be like, oh, taking over the world. I would always say that. It's in my transcripts from the DEA. The DEA, like, oh yeah, this guy thinks, you know, he's whatever. What's the dude's name? Pablo Escobar, you know, then this is before El Chapo. This guy thinks he's Pablo. I never thought that. I didn't think that at all. But I did think that I was smarter than everyone else. And I was around a lot of smart people, a lot of people that were smarter than me. And you know why they're smarter than me? Because they weren't trafficking drugs from state to state to state, thinking they were cool. And yeah, in the end, it was nuts. It was nuts. You know, and then all my friends, you know. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. I've forgiven everybody. I run into, you know, that was the biggest reason why I didn't want to live in Montana, because all the people that testified against me live here in this state. Now I'm like, no, I want to be home in Los Angeles. I don't want to like be in Montana where the only people I know testified against me. No way, Jose. No way. But she made me stay. And you know what? I slowly run into people every once in a while. The last one I ran into, I was putting air in my tire at a gas station. And this guy rides up on this bike that's got a flat tire. He's actually riding the bike with a flat tire, and he's all, you know, tweaked out. And I was like, here, man, you need this? And it was the main guy that started the case. He was the first guy that got busted in my case, because you know I was lead organizer, and this guy was like the very first guy. And I ran into him air, right? And he looks up at me when I hand him the air hose, and I was like, I'm gonna say his name, John McQuarrie. What's up, man? How's life? And he was like, dangerous. That's what he said. He said, dangerous. He was so scared. And this is before I got saved, before I found God and realized that I have eternal life through Jesus Christ and through faith alone, right? Not by works, right? This is before that. And I hugged him, man. I hugged him. Yep, I did. And I was like, man, you know, I looked at him, and I wasn't looking down on him. I was like, that could be me. That could be me riding up in my tire with a flat tire, my bike with a flat tire to the thing, if I hadn't gotten clean and sober and you know, trying to do the right thing, because I don't want an 851c like Tommy Stiggs was talking about to do that. Well, he wasn't talking about it. I talked about it from his comment. I don't want to do that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. gone crazy. What did Christopher Walken say? I move. That's an inside joke with myself. Yeah. So yeah, I gave him a hug, man. I said, man, you're okay, man. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You know, he didn't even know I was in Montana. You know, all those guys that, you know, why they felt comfortable testifying against me? Because they know, like, oh, he's a California guy. He's never going to be here. You know, we'll just tell him we'll come back, and, you know, we'll just say, oh yeah, we got busted and whatever. Right. No, but they didn't count on me screwing up my probation so bad in Los Angeles that the judge was like, I'm not flying you back and forth from LA so you can come see me for a probation violation. You're living in Montana and that's it. I was like, I am. But, you know, she was sitting up on this big bench with a black robe, and you know what? It was her say, her final say. But anyways, yeah, man, it was cool. It was super cool. Yeah. I did break his jaw in jail, you know, but that was, you know, 20 years earlier, or at that point it was like 17 years earlier. Yeah, I broke his jaw and he tried to sue me. I should pull up that case. Yeah, he tried to sue me and the jail guard that brought him into the unit because he told them that he wasn't safe if they put him in there because I was in there. I know this is kind of disrespectful, but I'm kind of hungry. And where was I at? Damn it, where was I at? You guys help me out. Oh, I can rewind it on my phone. Oh, they tried to sue me. Yeah, broke the dude's jaw. And yeah, he filed a lawsuit against me because and the jailer, the actual jailer, the judge threw it out right away. I should download it, but yeah, the judge threw it out. He's like, no, it was a prison fight. You got hurt. Fights happen. That's what the judge said. He goes, fights happen in jail. Yeah, it was so funny. I remember that cop's name too. It was Larachek, Captain Larachek. He was the captain. And he was a California dude. And you know, the cops in California, like the COs, like they're almost like inmates there. We could do a whole show on that. I would love to have somebody on with me to do a show on like how those cops roll like a gang. I just got here. I'm so confused. Hey, what's up, Gimbal Shanks? Good to see you. I'm talking about, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I was talking about like Wall Street crimes versus street crimes, like drug dealing. I only got to drug dealing. That's probably all I'm going to talk about the street crime. And we were just comparing sentences, you know, and how which affects society the most. And you know, it's they're a little I mean, unfair is one word. I'm trying to think of like a smart word to say, or the word I'm thinking of. Because, you know, I am a pseudo intellectual, so I got to come up with these big, you know, fancy words, but it's not even really that fancy of a word. I remember I couldn't remember the word breakfast one day. So it's dementia for sure. It's in contrast, it leans more heavy towards the street thug. And I feel like it should be the other way around. I don't think these guys should be getting away with these crimes when they steal from banks and at least have the, you know, to be fair, since the 2008 change in the sentencing guidelines, and since like these presidents are letting a lot of people, I mean, we have a pardon czar. I think that's what they called her. who was pardoned because of Kim K, right? The Kardashian chick. Yeah, we have a pardon czar, and that's different. That's amazing. That's the shit, man. Because there's a lot of good dudes in there that are and women that have been convicted of crimes that they should have gotten probation for, and they're doing possibly life sentences. First of all, it's first time crime, or they were just associated with a bigger thug, like there was like a lead organizer, and they're way down the chain, but it was a conspiracy. And I think I've talked about conspiracies and how unconstitutional conspiracies are on this channel. They how like only 11 states have a conspiracy charge on their state with their state laws, and all the other states have ruled that they're unconstitutional. I feel like I'm being redundant in that because I feel like I just said it like the other day. But and Skimble Shanks, we're talking about how the psychology behind from a drug dealer or a white collar criminal. I wish Tommy Stiggs was here. I want to ask him if he did go, what he went for. But maybe him and I'll do a show sometime. If there's anyone that's a subscriber of Tommy Stiggs, and you know his personality and my personality, do you guys think that we should do a show together? I do. We got each other's number. Hey, Ben, do you want to come on right now? Yeah, we can talk about the crack versus coke. Let's talk about that. Y'all know not to get me started on this topic. Randy's story is a corrupt shit show. Corruption is not a... Okay. I feel like we were supposed to do... if we could get LKF on. Yeah, just pop in for a second, man. I don't hardly ever do this. I'm gonna send the link in the chat. Does this work? Does that work from there? If I post that in there? Let me look. It sure does, Shorty. He's like, works. He's like, fuck. Yeah, Rhonda, we need to have a follow-up show on our show. You know what? I should look at the comments on my phone while I'm doing the show. Why don't I do that? Because then I can go like this. You know what I mean? Dude, I'm an idiot. Who's cool, Skimble? Ben's probably combing his hair for real. I know I would be. I'm like, shit. Let me go change my shirt real quick. I had a different shirt on 2 minutes before the show, but then one of my golf shirts. You know, I've only gone golfing one time this year. It was that first sunny day, and I went and hit a bucket. Isn't that nuts? I want to travel and do some golfing someday. I want to golf in other states. Come on, Eileen. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, I watched the show. Watch this. Oh, there he is. No, John.
All right, come on, pop me in.
What's up, man?
Hey, good to talk to you, buddy. I can't see anything, but good talking to you. I'll see you later.
All right, brother. Hey, oh. I can't hear you. Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Got me, man. Hold on. Hold on.
I
Well, hold on. I gotta find out. There we go. There we go.
would apologize, but you brought this on yourself in the morning, welcoming this to your show. So
Yeah.
If your life can't be an inspiration, let it be a symbol of judgment. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Dude, that was awesome, man. Doing the and did you hear me? I was like, hey, I can't hear you. And I was like,
yeah, these
It's almost-
shirts, if you tap on them. Oh yeah, yours is the same way. If you tap on it, you mute it, and it's like
yeah,
the mute on
where do you have to tap on it to anywhere or just right there? Got it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I do that sometimes because I'm still trying to figure out noise amount and all sorts of garbage and
Yeah.
my noise gate and all that. So it
Yeah.
doesn't pick up my narcissistic bird or me snorting or whatever. Yeah. So how you doing?
I'm good, man. Man, the week, it started out a little rough, but man, it's been an awesome week so far.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've done a couple cool tattoos this week.
Another
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah,
So like, was it like you're tatted up like a Raiders fan?
Huh?
Raiders fans, they're all tatted up. Of course, most of them.
Oh, dude, they are, man. Have you ever been to a Raiders game?
I've only seen them from afar.
Oh man, dude, like listen, I've gone to one. It was only one, and I'm just gonna back up to the beginning of that day. I was with this new girl I started dating, and it was the first night I spent the night at her house. And my cousin calls me. He's like, "Hey, I got Raiders tickets. Do you want to go to the game today?" I was like, "Dude, absolutely. I'd never been to a football game." So I just like, and we were in Laguna Beach. My cousin was in Hollywood, so I did like get up to LA real fast. And dude, she was so mad. She was so mad, but it was like the best day. I had gotten lucky, and then I went to a Raiders game. But anyways, to the Raiders game, I was Arsenio Hall was in front of me, and it was when Bo Jackson. Yeah, it was when Bo Jackson still played. Arsenio Hall was in front of me, and behind me was what's his name? Hammer. The Hammer Time guy. Yeah, MC Hammer. And and there was fights during the whole game, and so like literally almost the entire game, and the Raiders lost. I was going like this, watching the fights almost the entire game. Like, oh, there's a fight over there. It was the craziest thing, and that was like 1990.
Yeah, makes sense with the whole Bo nose
93?
thing.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, crazy. Bo nose.
But yeah, it is. I hate to be so simplistic, but with the whole white collar crime versus, I don't know. I guess you'd call it blue collar or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
It seems like it's kind of like why rich people have so many. Again, I hate to use divisive terminology, but why certain classes have so many tax deductions. It's because politicians tend to, be in that group. So the first thing they do is they cut themselves out a little, a little piece of the pie, and you can't blame me for it. We're gonna, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying anything good about crack. I'm inexperienced in both of them, but the way they got with crack versus cocaine, because cocaine tended to be, upper crust. A lot of politicians were doing coke, and then crack, of course, is.
It's because they changed it. I mean, for the most part, we can agree, right, that the government would like let a lot of cocaine over the border, but when they changed it and made a different drug, right, however they did that. I mean, I've seen it done. I've done it, but it was a long time ago. For some reason, now you've manufactured a drug from, whatever, and that sentencing should be higher, or the element is a little more dangerous.
Yeah, something about I don't quite understand it.
Or I think, I mean, it could be just as simple like as what you just said, or easy to understand, like we just said, like they made it less because it was a rich man's drug.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
But I do think like the crime part or the addiction part, because it was way more addictive as crack. So that's probably how they justified it in Congress. Like, look, it's more addictive now. It's going to hurt more people. And I would agree with all that,
Yeah. I mean, you could, but that was one thing. And one of the people I used to follow was a trends researcher. What was his name? John McLaughlin?
Lennon.
No. Anyhow, he's a guy out of Colorado. One of his favorite sayings is "Evil always rides in on the back of a white horse," and that's usually the way. He approaches things from trends. There's what happens historically when this happens and stuff like it's fascinating. I don't know what it has to do with the price of tea in China, but yeah, he would always follow stuff like that, and that was one of his big talking points that he was always talking about how, whenever Congress, I shouldn't say Congress, whenever government, not whenever, a lot of times they will institute a problem and then propose to be the solution to that problem, and they ride in and we'll give you, you name it.
Right.
Was the one quote, he who gives up liberty for safety deserves neither and gets neither, and or whatever the quote is, like horrible.
Receives tyranny. I mean, that's not part of the quote, but that's what happens. Really.
That's basically it. Yeah, but that's a lot of times what. I mean, well, I don't know how it works for your state, but Arizona was a prime example with the it wasn't necessarily evil, but it was just interesting to watch this creep with laws. They would come in and they'd say, "Oh, no, we're going to mandate that you have to wear a seatbelt." A lot of people are like, "You can't ticket people for seatbelts. Come on," and that caused a big roar. They said,
I remember that.
We will never ticket you for that. Like, yes, you are. You're going to ticket people for this. Oh, we would never do that. 4 years. Yeah, now you can get ticketed for not wearing a seatbelt.
Oh, man.
And the problem with it is, I mean, whatever. It's not a big, huge honking crime or anything like that. But the problem I have with it is it's kind of emblematic of a lot of, it's a good example of a lot of the way a lot of things go.
Yeah.
And my problem with seatbelt laws is just that it's such a matter of perception. A cop, they can't tell you driving by if you had it on or not. And it's like your word against them. And unless you have a cam, and there's been plenty of cases where people have happened to have cams on.
Yep.
They had the seatbelt, cop pulls them over, they take the seatbelt off, they dig for their stuff. Cop says, "You didn't have your seatbelt on," and blah, blah, blah. And they can take that to court when they're paying the other crap and say, "Here you go, judge." Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I know when I shut my car off, my automatic reaction is to unbuckle.
Yeah.
So if I get pulled over, I mean, it's never happened to me, but I could see myself unbuckling and then, or whatever. I don't know. But I remember like you do when that first happened, when it was like, it was mandatory to wear a seatbelt. Everyone was like, "What?"
You big commies are going to say.
Yeah. This is the dictatorship. No, we're trying to save your life. What? No, you're not.
And then, I go both ways on it, whatever. But the whole unbuckling your seatbelt, that's a prime example of how our brains, they run scripts that your body's so used to doing this. Your brain says, "Oh, I don't have to think about doing this. I just know how this works," and he'll run it automatically. And our brains will do that.
Yeah.
With a whole lot of issues. It's part of the reason why if we come out of a really harmful relationship or something like that, that's from a long time, we will subconsciously seek that out because our brains,
it's what we know.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly. It's what they're used to. Even if it's uncomfortable, it will favor what is known because it knows how to run that script.
Yeah.
And they just favor what's familiar.
Yeah. I think that's part of that. Did you hear when I was talking about Viktor Frankl's The Man's Search for Meaning the other day? He was in a concentration camp, and a lot of the guys were trading their one roll that they would get every other day for a cigarette. They would rather have the cigarette than the food. And I think it's because it helped them feel like men again to have that cigarette. I can't remember his conclusion from that, but it was the point of the book that made it all click for me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Blown away, man. I was blown away. And I've bought in that book for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is also the need. I can't remember the exact term for it. You get so many of these psychological terms thrown at you. They just tend to become a blob. But there's something about like the need for normalcy. And there's a picture of a woman. I think it was Nagasaki. I think it was that one. But yeah, when they dropped one of the bombs, she was just in complete rubble. And they took a picture of her the next day. She's sweeping her kitchen. It's like there's nothing there. But it's just such a need for our brains to have some kind of normalcy. They will try, you're in shock at that point. So your brain will default to, here's what I know. That's why we need tribe. Because we're in the situation. We can't judge our situation being we're encapsulated in it. We need an outside opinion, somebody who's not terribly emotionally invested. To other people, it'd be incredibly clear. Dude, what are you doing? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah. Look at the big brain on Bren. Brain.
Now let's not go with that. Oh, I'm out of coffee.
No, I'm just fucking with you. It's like the it was the a Pulp Fiction. He's like, oh, look at the big brain on Brett. You're a smart motherfucker.
I still need to see that.
What?
Yeah. It's too new.
No, I believe you, but like, what has kept you from watching that movie?
Fat John Travolta.
Really? It was his comeback.
No, I don't know. I'm just picking that out.
Okay.
I
mean, no. If it's not your jam, it's not your jam. Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is. I got rid of TV years ago. Went to satellite. Never used satellite. So yeah, I got rid of that. But it's not all on the plus side because there are some world events which I'm really kind of behind on. But you can ask Chat GPT to deliver news to you that's not politically leaning. It doesn't do bad. I mean, there's a lot of things Chat GPT messes up. But if you ask it for neutral stories, it'll give you a neutral story. Give me the news just in a flat neutral format. Don't say, oh, this person did because he's got orange skin, orange man bad, or whatever. To the opposite side,
Yeah. Have you seen that Shane Gillis? You know who Shane Gillis is, the comedian?
Oh yeah, okay.
He does a thing about his dad's a Fox TV news guy, and thank God he's not a CNN news guy because could you imagine eating dinner and he's like, we really need to start using renewable energy here or something like that. And he's like, Dad, I didn't know you were gay. It's really funny the way he says it, but because they're like they're part of that anti-woke comedy type thing. But yeah, it's really good. But yeah,
thank you, Short Note Carrie.
I love Short Note.
I have a tribe. She's also
what is going on with you guys? Well, you know what I'll do? You know what I'm gonna do? Because really, the movie in whole, it's really a short story. What I might do is just take a few clips, the best clips from the movie. You really don't even have to understand. It's just just watch the scene and you're going to be like, oh, that's pretty badass. So what I'll do is I'll cut it up into like 4 scenes of the 4 of the best scenes from the movie. And we'll just like respond to them like here on YouTube, you know, that they won't push our video out or anything, but it'll be fun to watch you react to it or see what you have to say about it, or even some of the chatters.
I've been meaning to research this, and you seem like you're a little more up on the YouTube thing. To me, it's a little more of an experiment, but
I remember you saying that.
What can you do how do you can you play clips of videos and it not give you like you're going to hell, you know, you're going down to the layer of hell that's, you know, disco. Yes, I said it.
Don't make me, bro. I will play disco right now. I love disco, man.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
What'd Jeff say?
Oh, I probably have my noise gate on too high. I bet he probably didn't come across. Let's lower background. There, let's try to get Jeff on again. I don't know if he's.
That is one big pile of shit.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Okay. Yeah,
and that is one big pile of shit.
Podcast. This is a shit show.
Yes, I play that on my show. That's where my friend's Tara. She's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. She doesn't think she's smart. She's not book smart, but she picks things up very fast. A fascinating person.
That's cool.
She spent 5 years homeless in her car. She was labor trafficked. She was addicted to drugs, and you know, she was stalked and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
and she finally got herself into a home, or into a, I don't know what you call it, safe house, I guess is the term. And it's been working her way back. But yeah, she's got a chemical engineering degree. Or no, biomedical, that was it. But yeah, she's got, you know, all this stuff. But yeah, it just shows you that it's not only, I think we're tempted to think that only a certain class of person gets caught in drugs. It's like, no, it's like cults. There's some very smart people in cults. It's just, you know, it depends upon what you're influenced by. We're all open to influence.
I think about that all the time. You know, when I'm seeing something about a cult, like I don't want to use Scientology because that seems like this is, but what's another cult? Like not the corrupt. Well, we'll just use Scientology because we see. I look at those people and like they're like you know, like professionals. Somebody was just showing like the connection with the LAPD with Scientology. I can't remember. It was someone in our circle showing like the connection with the LAPD to Scientology. And I was just looking at all the people around there, and there's no way that all those people are not intelligent, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean everybody, but there's got to be, you know, at least half of them are probably pretty smart people outside of their Scientology belief. It blows me away. It blows me away.
Winter, Stanley Clark, bass player.
Edgar Winter was a Scientologist?
Yeah, Edgar Winter, you know, Frankenstein.
I know exactly who he is. Yeah. His brother was a beast too.
Let's see, Stanley Clark, he's big into jazz fusion kind of. The bassist for what was the guy's name? David Lee Roth Band, the bassist. What was his name?
Don't say it. If you remember it, don't say it out loud.
Yeah, I know he played in a band called Axe for a while.
Yeah, he played in that power band. Billy Sheen.
Yes. Yeah, very, very skilled. But yeah. I mean,
he was a Scientologist?
He was. I don't know if he still is.
No, right.
Yeah, you could see a clip. I don't know who posted it. It may have been the guy who was on the city council in Coldwater for a while, whatever his name is. He had a lot of videos of Scientologists, and yeah, Billy Sheenan they were doing a protest. It was back in the days of the anonymous protests, and they almost had flags surrounded. And yeah, he came out and just said, "Hey, my name's Billy," and yeah, no, Scientology's really cool. And I was like, "Oh, dude, yeah,
Wow.
I would like to check up on him and see if he's still in or not." But, yeah,
I went to there's a store in LA called the Guitar Center, and they have do they have those in Arizona?
yeah, you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
They're
they
probably
sometimes
smaller.
they'll have clinics there, like someone
Yeah.
famous will come in and do a clinic. And Billy Sheen was in there doing a clinic, and he would just, I can't remember the name. It was a power band, like it was like Billy Sheen and not Carl Palmer on drums.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't Carl Palmer, but it was Cozy Powell. Cozy Powell was on drums. And Bob Rock was singing. He's that kind of a producer guy. I can't remember who's on guitar though. It might have been Steve Vai.
Wow.
It might have been, but yeah, they had like one hit song. But anyway, it was during that time, and he was in there promoting the album and doing a clinic. And I just stood there like this. What the?
Yeah, the guy is amazing. I hope he's out. There's a very real chance he could be for all I know. But yeah, that I mean, obviously now it's much smaller than it was even back then. I mean, now heck, there's quite a few channels that have like Aaron Smith Lemon's channels, like what, 4 times the size, 5, 6 times the size of Scientology now. So
Oh wow, yeah. It was really popular. It was really popular in the late 80s, early 90s, and I've talked about that where they would have like these little soldiers on the street corners, trying to bring you in to get on the cans or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know they were called cans until like this year. I just remember holding on to something.
Yeah.
Wow. But
so
it was really popular.
You actually did the galvometer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Isaac Hayes. Yeah. Isaac Hayes, chef.
Oh yeah, he was a big one. Yeah.
Didn't he also sing Shaft? Was that Isaac Hayes? Okay.
That was Isaac Hayes. And he left the show because of what they did to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And then when they left the show, they made him a child molester.
I mean, say what you will about South Park, but I absolutely loved how they picked on Tom Cruise. I mean, the closet episode of the Fudge Pack.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see how that would tick some people off, but yeah, to me, it was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
But,
I wouldn't call myself a super fan of South Park, but they have some episodes that are pretty amazing. Clever. They're clever.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a bass player called Percy Jones?
Mm-mm.
He plays a fretless bass. And I know him from Brand X. Phil Collins' fusion jazz band. He's the bass player for there, and Ken Goodsall on guitar. And of course, Phil on drums. Yeah, those albums are insane.
Yeah, that I never could understand. I mean, I've had somebody who played a fretless bass show me the advantages of it, kind of like playing an upright bass, same setup. But I still just can't understand, like, how do you memorize? I mean, memory of the chord progressions, things like that, fine. But neck position, I mean, that's critical. And you don't have, to the best of my knowledge, you don't have any without frets. How do you?
Yeah. There has to be,
maybe marks on the side.
Yeah, the marks on, that they put in guitars, like the 1 and the 2 dots, 1 dot.
Yeah.
There has to be something like that.
Yeah, it cuts to me just sounds the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just know where your finger is. I don't know.
Yeah, and I like even in high school band, we had timpanis. I never could tell. You had to tune them, but it's like, how do you do this in the middle of a concert? There's nothing that says this position on the pedal equals this note. So it's like, oh, it's too high. And, you don't know until you hit the stupid thing.
Yeah. My favorite timpani. I wouldn't call it a solo, but like part of a song is from Hawaii Five-0, where it goes When he does that, yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
It's
Yeah, that
interesting. They did a study on that song, and they found people tend to drive faster when they're listening to that song.
Really crazy.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that they were I can't remember what they were theorizing about. I think it was tempo, and that one's like what was it, like 120 beats a minute, or I think it's higher than that. Pretty fast.
Yeah,
it's like that. So, but yeah, and you know, I used whatever it was, I used it in a show once, where it's talking about how music affects you, how certain tones can affect people in different ways, and you know, if it works for you, it works. If not, you know, no harm, no foul.
Huh. That's sweet.
So, dude, what's your favorite Rush song?
Favorite Rush song? I want to say Witch Hunt. Oh, okay. On drums, Witch Hunt for sure. Yeah. I mean, to play that live, I don't know, man. I used to try to play it, and it's impossible for me. It's just too good. Witch Hunt is probably my favorite song, a Rush song for drums. But of course, I love a Farewell to Kings. Like the whole first side of Farewell to Kings is probably my all-time. But then you start thinking, then you're like, oh well, but Rush, Fly By Night, that whole album's great, and then Caress of Steel.
Wow, that's old school.
Going bald. When I first heard that song, I'm like, what is he singing about? But now as an older guy, I'm like, I think I'm going bald.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the internet, I'll say the internet, not just computers, but the web has changed our lives. Because it used to be a lot of times you'd get the cheap cassettes. There's no lyrics. It's like, I don't know what they're saying. So then you got these misheard lyrics, like wrapped up like a douche, and excuse me while I kiss this guy. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But obviously now you can look up the lyrics for even really small bands. They'll post their lyrics online.
I still say wrapped up like a douche, even though I know it's deuce. I still sing it like, I don't know why. I've been singing like that since the 70s. And yeah. Has anyone done a show on that? Like all the songs that are someone's had to have done a show on that.
Yeah. There was one guy, and I want to do the same trick that he did. He was doing it with Disney songs, where misheard lyrics in Disney songs. And he would play the song. He's like, no, dude, it says this, but I swear they're saying this. And his final authority was he would use speech to text on his phone. That was just, of course, that's absolutely horrible. But that's like, hey, that's a good. I might do that at some point. Here's what here's what speech to text says. So that we'll let that.
It's awful, man. It's getting a little better. Like some companies, like some AI, I guess identifier, text identifier, whatever, speech identifier, whatever it is called. Have gotten better. Yeah. But I remember when I first would do it, and I would just upload the video on my legal channel with captions, without really like checking it too hard. Everyone was like, I'm unsubscribing, there's so many misspelled words. I don't even know what they're saying. I'm like, well, you're listening to what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
People get really upset when you misspell stuff, man. Like, you're an idiot. You used the wrong there. Oh yeah, but I voice texted the title.
Yeah, and that's a thing. And that I actually used to be a little bit of an English Nazi, but then of course now, with how bad I am for typos, I used to not be bad at typing. I don't know if it's just lost of finger coordination, if it's a change of keyboard. I know this particular keyboard is too sensitive, so I'll double time letters because you'd like look at it cross-eyed. My last keyboard was so bad, you're like having to play the keyboard like you play a drum. You're aiming for the floor, your teeth very cardiovascular. You get your fingers sore. That's the whole reason why I bought the real sensitive keyboard. I think I went overboard with it.
Yeah. So
but chat, but AI is fascinating because it's being used on people in ways they don't realize. Like like you pull up your internet, depending upon what version you're using, what browser. A lot of times there'll be news stories there. Those stories are oftentimes presented in a way like there'll be a story that causes an emotional reaction, be fear. Putin's getting ready to launch World War III, and most of those stories are absolute crap anyway.
Yeah,
they're just, and then there'll be something that makes a point, and then there'll be something at the end to cause a good feeling. And what that does is it gets your brain kicking into where you now have an emotional response, so your brain's open to what comes after it. You see this in nighttime talk shows. There's a particular formula they use where they have somebody, the monologue will usually involve character assassinating, I'll say, a particular person. Now, I'm sorry, you run for public office. Not only do you get it, I say you deserve it no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
absolutely.
I think they should all be made fun of. That's just the way I am. But what they'll do is they'll say a lot of false things very quickly. Things that we know are false. And what happens is they'll say a bunch of false things. They'll cut to the audience laughing. Okay, then they'll cut back and then they'll do the show. What this does is if you have a lot of things just thrown at you, you don't have time to process them. Your brain just kind of accepts it because it doesn't have, it's like, wait a minute, that's not true. Then you're shown a crowd laughing, creating this tribe emotion, like everybody else believes this. Everybody else thinks it's funny. Why don't you? Aren't you a little strange if you don't agree with this? I mean, that's not literally what they're saying, but that's what the
you think that's intentionally formulated like that?
Yeah. AI has been really big on that. So you're being influenced all the time. Oh my gosh, drug commercials are filled with it.
Oh yeah, they have been.
And just basic advertising. The basic message to advertising is compare yourself to others, which you'll always come up losing, and you're not happy yet. You're not happy until you buy, this product, whatever it is. But compare yourself to others. Look at these other people. Look how good looking they are. Wow, you're such a loser for looking this way. These people are in their 50s and they're mountain climbing and whatever.
Yeah, it blows me away. Dude.
Yeah, and there's a prime example of this. There was one commercial with Dr. Robert Jarvik, and that one caused a big stir because he was so unhealthy. I invented this valve, and I invented the artificial heart. And there's a bunch of very dubious claims about him. The whole big thing about that. But and I recommend both. You're not a medical doctor, so that's you can't say that. But then they show him rowing a boat, something about how important a healthy heart is. I'm rowing a boat and I'm rowing a boat. They couldn't even have him legally row the boat because his heart was in such bad shape. They had to use an actor to row the boat. It's just stuff like that.
Well, I remember when it was, like subliminal messages and, in albums, play it backwards or even forwards sometimes. But but with advertising, I remember when they would airbrush, I remember one of the very first ones when it was pointed out, but it was like someone's junk that was airbrush in his rib cage. It was like an ad for Soloflex.
Oh, okay. I know that.
I think it was Soloflex, or it was like Calvin Klein or something.
Yeah, Alcor was also bad for that.
It was just like I don't know, but there's a lot of them. That's just one example, or in Disney cartoons. But it definitely is now insane. But so do you think there's like a group, like a think tank of guys that work for these ad agencies or these writer or whatever? I don't know that come up with this stuff, or do you think it just happened on happenstance?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't mean to take it way down the deep dark.
No, right.
Or anything like that. But yeah, these ad companies, they hire these groups, and that is what. What was the psychologist's name? Big one. You're in love with your mother. Freud. Sigmund Freud's nephew was really big in the United States. He's the one that was involved in the campaign of bacon being for breakfast. And, before it was like any time, but he was a big one. He worked on that. And yeah, he was very big in the propaganda and very influential. And yeah, he wrote about, that, yeah, we're influencing people against their will. And I mean, he wasn't saying like, you want to go and, next time you see somebody in a polka dot dress, shoot the president or anything like that. But, it's definitely an influence game.
Yeah.
If influence didn't work that well, how do people explain campaign coffers being what they are, being spent, or ad revenues for companies? Yeah, it's a very real game. And oftentimes it will target. It works differently for different people. Everybody's different.
Sure.
But yeah, it can get you real good ones can get you ordering stuff that they know you don't. Yeah, your brain knows you don't need. Case Hughes, prime example. He's the guy I study under. He bought a stupid salad thing. It was on these late night infomercials, and he was talking about. It's still in the box, and he keeps it just as a reminder of what influence is. And that was one of the things that got him really big, looking into what influence is, how do you use it for good? Influence by itself is neither good or bad. It's like a scalpel.
Sure.
You can take a life or save a life, but
that's right. That's right.
And you could, there's a lot of times you want to influence people, in a good way. You have somebody who's on drugs or somebody, you're trying to talk somebody, not even saying they're going to unalive themselves or anything like that. Somebody who's having a really bad day. You run through de-escalation procedures like, dude, I swear you're not going to lose your job over this. Let's just calm down. I understand you're angry. I would be too. What are some options we can look at about this? And get them to agree with you. It's Thursday or it's Friday morning. It's sunny out. It's supposed to rain later today. So what do you say we go and 3 things I know is true, and then your suggestion at the end. Yeah, it can be used.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I look at it like that, like I can safely say that I've been influenced. I mean, almost just like that, almost in that exact same situation where I'm just like, someone's trying to get me to go do something, and they're like, well, hey, so-and-so is going to be there. And look, I was there last week and it was badass. And interesting. I mean, I guess. I don't
Yeah. I mean, some of it's hardcore. Some of it's really, but it's influence. It's just on a scale. Some of it's really base level. Some of it is stuff like Enron baked beans teeth. This, I don't know if I used to use Aaron Smith Levin's reading through one of their L books, and they would ask somebody over and over again, what did my finger just do? What did my finger just do? That's just a confusion statement. It's like, this is stupid. But you do that enough, your brain's like, just trying to make sense of this. And the very next thing that you're told that makes sense. It's kind of like you have a file clerk in your brain, and what this doesn't make sense, and it tries to go back. It's like part of your brain's like, what the F is this? The very next thing that you're handed that makes sense, you can relax, buy this book, whatever. Your brain will grab a hold of. Now you can overcome it, but if you're not paying attention, that's what the lower part of your brain will make decisions for you, and then the upper part of your brain will just rationalize. Well, no, I wasn't influenced to do this. I just thought about it, and this is the one that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's cray. Look what Mischief said. My first husband singing Africa. There's nothing that 100 men on Mars could ever do.
What is the real lyrics to that?
Africa. I bless the rains down in Africa.
I wonder what the real lyrics are.
That's not it?
I barely remember that song.
100 men on Mars could have. I thought that's what it was. Oh, it's probably not. I get it now. I just thought maybe he was a bad singer, and she's like, I'm out of here.
Toto lyrics.
Are you looking it up? Good. Okay, good.
There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do.
There's nothing that 100
God bless the
men
rains
or
down in
more.
Africa. Going to take some time to do the things we never have. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I thought it was Mars. I did. Well,
Yes.
that I guess I'm a nut job.
Yeah, that's a prime example. That's a song that I've never looked the lyrics up for. And, back in our day, unless you spent the money for the Richie, quote unquote, version of the CD, which oftentimes I couldn't tell the difference. You didn't get the lyrics. So,
yeah. Some cassettes would, like Iron Maiden, they would be like a multiple fold out, and it would have like the lyrics in it, but they were tiny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had glorious squinto vision, 2-point font.
Yeah. I love Iron Maiden. Yeah. It's I would love to have a music show with you where we just talk about music, and just let it organically go from band to band. Because I love so many bands, and like there's so much I could talk about with each band. Like I like right now I wanted to talk about Iron Maiden and how Bruce Dickinson was kind of just along for the ride. An amazing, I would say, poster child for heavy metal singer of that time. But the the lyrics all being written by Harris, Steve Harris, and just the lyrics were pretty nonsensical for the most part, but just amazing, amazing.
And he's credited as being a what they call a polymath, meaning he's very fluent in multiple. But I think that term is used a little bit too much, because I think most of us are. Nobody's just one. I mean, it's very rare that you find somebody who's talented at only one thing. Like you play drums, you tattoo people, you can obviously draw as a result of that, so you're probably good at art. The whole computer silliness, working for the Tower of Mordor, Microsoft.
Yeah. I was so proud, man. I was the proudest guy alive when they offered me a gig. I was just like, what? I was just like, it was like this, and now it just seems so like it, in the grand scheme of things. That was nothing. Lost my wife shortly thereafter, and it just doesn't even. And
that was I never could figure out. Some albums would come with lyrics. I think it depended upon if you got like the first printing, or if they made a version for bulk budget release or whatever. But some would have the lyrics. Sometimes you'd buy the same album, and it wouldn't have lyrics. I never could figure out the difference. Probably a Walmart version.
I never even heard that Walmart had a different version of records or albums or CDs, whatever, until recently. I
think they do it with I think they do it with a lot of their products, like electronics. That I don't know, name a company. Yeah,
they have their own Roku.
Somebody will make their big expensive version of a radio or whatever, a car radio. And then they'll make a cheaper version with cheaper parts made for, the box outlets or whatever. Wow.
Isn't that great?
Does that have shortwave or that's just AM FM?
Yeah, it's AM FM.
Okay.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, I love this thing. I listen to it. I just put batteries in it for the first time the other day, and it works great, man. It works so good. And because that dude Tommy Stiggs Social Club, sometimes he'll be like, I heard it on the transistor radio. And I was like, wait a minute, I have a transistor radio. Not to like copy him. I was just like, it reminded me I had it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, crazy. And so I was like seeing what I could pick up on it. And yeah, a lot of AM news out there. And Christian music.
Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. Yeah, I remember that song. Short note. I suck at chemistry, but I can rock the hell out of a Springsteen show and have many times. I'll leave his. Oh.
I'm trying to find it. On Yellow Brick Road. I did.
I wish I had something cool to talk about.
No, I mean, no, thanks for coming on, man.
This is what you get in the morning. And I would apologize for my parents, but honestly, you deserve it. You've done something seriously wrong in your life to deserve this in the morning. I'm not going to feel guilty at all.
I am Frankenstein. People don't understand. I am literally Frankenstein. I uploaded a picture to ChatGPT and I said, make a caricature of me. And you know how now sometimes on ChatGPT it'll give you like, which response do you prefer? Right?
Oh yeah,
it'll give you two. And
fascinating idea.
And this is what it did, dude. I saved them just because I was like, what the heck?
That's a good idea.
Oh man, no, it makes great caricatures of you. And you might have to give it a couple more commands, like do it high definition, more detail, and then it'll come up with some like really of course I'm not going to be able to find it. But it did two cartoons of me. One was literally Frankenstein with a microphone. And the other one was just like a dude with his hat on backwards. But it generated it from the same picture. And I was like, I told you guys, I resemble Frankenstein. I'm not upset about it or anything, but just to let you know who you're effing with.
Again, another Frankenstein reference. One of my friends talked about, he played that song one time, and he had I can't remember what it's called. It's like a type of keyboard. I wish I could remember. Not a vibroslap. It's got an oddball name, but it's used in that song.
It's a
what was the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. But
yeah, Paul Schaefer had one on David Letterman.
Yeah, and he one of the members of his band had this thing. It was his pride and joy. And so what they had the bright idea to do is connect it via fishing line to to a series of pulleys. And what they would do is during the song, they'd it'd be great if the thing just while the guy's playing during that part with the bass is running down, of have the thing vibrate up in the air. It comes out of this guy's hand and says, this will be fantastic. And all these problems happened where the smoke machine that they had, it was one of the old school ones where you had to have dry ice. Half of it didn't work. All of it was beaming at the guy with this device, whatever it was. It's all this blasting him in the face. So first of all, you have that. Second of all, this will look great though. You'll never be able to see these lines because they were playing in the high school gym. The backlights come on. First thing you see is these lines running up from it. So yeah, it stuck out painfully bad. And then of course the guy who's running the machine like whips it way too high. The guy is it completely screwed the song up. But yeah, that's and that's how music goes. It's like you're playing a song and the bassist starts playing the wrong line. Everybody just shuts their eyes. You just keep playing. Eventually he'll figure out, and he starts beating himself up and he starts, trying to adjust and play the right. But yeah, stuff like that always happens. Yeah. If you want to see a prime example of that, just see Marty Feldman. Felddog. Every single thing that's every single bad thing, not Marty, the Feldman kid that was in Stand By Me. What
He was
the
in
other
Stand
movie?
By Me?
No, he also played in Lost Boys.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feld Dog. But yeah, his shows are like every single bad thing that's happened. Anybody who's played in the band, every little bad thing that's happened, all jammed into one show. Every show is like that.
Yes,
Or
I've watched so much of that. It is
he'll go to the mic and
hard
pop.
to think, is he doing it on purpose?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But
it's getting views. So
yeah, yeah. Do you see the one on the left? That was, and it gave me the one on the right, both together. Which one do you prefer? That's the same command into ChatGPT with my picture.
Wow. Man, that's radically different.
It did effing Frankenstein, dude. Of course, I chose the Frankenstein version that I prefer because it's funny. But yeah, isn't that nuts, dude? That's a screenshot.
The other guy just looks mad, and you really typically don't look mad.
No, I gave it a picture and said, do a thumbnail.
Yeah.
And but it's got a bunch of them. I mean, you can see I did that one when I wore my Jesus Matter shirts. Some of them are funny.
Mm.
That one. The Road to Recovery.
Mm.
Look at that one. I mean, that's my Hawaiian shirt, from the picture. Just the facts, man.
Mm.
Almost lost it all. I kind of like that one in a sense. It looks like me, kind of. My hair isn't that gray, but that one's not even close. Pump your brakes. I can't remember what I made those for. There's Tommy with the sinking boat, but it gave him a ponytail. These ones are kind of funny. I want to get to more of those ones. Those ones are hilarious. Maybe they're the other way. I don't know. They're
Wow, Train by Blackfoot. Wow. Train.
Great song.
Yeah, I remember that. Man, that's deep dark 70s there.
Yeah. Did you
Maybe
see that
80s.
one? No. I think 70s, late 70s. That one was hilarious.
Hold the line. Dun, 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 dun.
Love isn't always on time. That's what it says, right? Love isn't always on time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought, am I singing that wrong?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me double check.
Hold the line. Anyways, let me get out of that.
Yeah, love isn't always on time. Whoa. Hold the line. Yeah, love isn't always on time.
Love isn't always on time.
Yeah.
Intro to Wanted Dead or Alive. Oh, I love that. It's all the same. Only the names have changed every day. To say I'm wasting away. That's right. That's the right lyrics, right?
The thing that kills that song for me is hearing so many drunk people try to karaoke it in bars.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, you can't hit that high E. You get it's like, oh my God. Stop the insanity.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I'm going to a wedding today. I'm going to a wedding today, and I didn't find out about it. Well, I found out about it a couple months ago, but I was reminded last night.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Because seems like it. Yeah. Oh, I had big plans, and yeah. I know how that goes.
Yeah, I've known the guy for a long time. Like back in the drug days, and he just happened it up. He's from Arizona.
No,
I don't know.
Oh, chips, huh?
Huh?
Chips? Pork rinds?
No, it's donut.
Oh. Hell,
they gave these to my wife for free.
Wow. What's the secret code to get free Krispy Kreme?
Waiting for your DoorDash to come to be handed out.
Oh, okay.
The donut machine wasn't working. I don't know, something like that. But she had to wait an extra amount of time.
Oops, sorry.
What was that?
That was you know that.
It was going in and out.
Oh yeah, probably the noise gate's probably killing it. That was a very interesting song to dig into because it's very sloppily played. I mean, that's the style. Very sloppy, very kind of garage bandish sound. But you isolate the vocals, you can hear them.
Yeah,
you can hear him snapping his finger to keep time. It's like, holy crap, because this is before they map people to grids. This is before pitch correction and all that. And it's like, wow, even stuff that was simple.
Just to the chorus. That's it. Get down tonight. Sorry, brother. It's so good, though.
Oh, okay. Therapy. First part of recovery is admitting there's a problem. So, how long have you had this issue exactly? Do you think this isn't destroying your life?
Disco?
Yeah, I mean, fascinating that you don't.
Wow. Huge fan.
Big fan of you.
All kinds of jazz and rock too. I love it all. There's just I never liked hip hop until way later in life, and then I think I like it for different reasons than most people. I just like the feeling I get from the music itself. Like when I'm driving, sometimes I'm feeling like naughty, feeling like a gangster kind of. I like to have like just certain, really only like 2 or 3 hip hop groups, but yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm saying.
Big fan of Yes. Big fan. Who was it said? Big fan of Yes.
Oh, dude. I mean, all prog rock. There's yeah, I love, and their album covers were amazing. I'm not just saying this to attach my history to the conversation, but those album covers probably was one of the first 1 or 2 things that got me into doing art. Was trying to draw those album covers because they were just so amazing.
That's a lost art too. It used to be album covers was a big thing. I mean, and a lot of boring ones. It's just a photograph, but still, the album cover art was just a huge little cottage industry built up around the record industry. You were talking earlier about nonsensical lyrics. I love Yes, but I'm sorry, a lot of the lyrics are just like, what?
I'll be a roundabout.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, same thing, but
Did you like Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
Oh yeah. Oh come on. Oh gosh, they had several songs. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is Fanfare for the Common Man, because that was very big in football. Yeah, because they had been, but they used that for football games all during the 70s.
Yeah,
they would use parts of that song.
My favorite song, it's one of, like, I can play like 3 or 4 songs on guitar, and it's one of them's an EMP song, and it's that don 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 dan dan don dan dan.
Oh yeah.
God,
it's been a long time.
I have the name of it on the tip of my tongue. Like, damn, man, I don't want to waste time looking it up right now, but yeah, it's It's a really good song.
Well, I could talk this all day, but I'm afraid this computer's not going to kick itself. So, hey, I'll wish you a happy day, sir.
Thank you man. I really appreciate you coming on, brother. For real.
Wow. Not to know that, just had to put some eyeballs on.
No, and I think a few of us that are into music should really just like one night just sit down and do a music show.
Sure.
For real.
Yeah.
And we'll play some clips and stuff, and then if YouTube says you have to take it down, I'll take it down.
Just one closing thought though, and something I've always been kind of interested by. When you got sober, did you find you had to reclaim songs because they were certain songs? So it's maybe triggering, so you have to kind of expose yourself to it again. It's like, no, I really like this song. I want this song to still be part of my life, but I don't want to attach that old meaning to it. So,
the Journey, I couldn't listen to any Journey song after my wife first passed, and just because of some of the lyrics, and almost every one of their songs remind me of her. And she wasn't a Journey fan, and neither was I per se. I mean, I like Journey, but it just happened to be playing a lot when we first started dating, and I don't even know if I can still today. I'm sure I probably can, but and Master of Puppets, that whole album reminds me of using cocaine, and so like I'm just not a big fan of that album anymore. I didn't try to reclaim it or anything, like what you were just saying. I just grew out of that, like really like feeling that and liking that music.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing. That's a huge thing. It's
there was a lot of songs that still take me back first, and it's always the oddest ones. It's not like necessarily your favorites. I mean, they can be certainly, but sometimes it's like Billy Idol. I mean, I was never a Billy Idol fan, but I mean, I didn't hate him or anything. It's like, okay, yeah, he's on, okay, but Fresh for fantasy, the way he moves his mouth still amazes me. But
when he's just talking normal, he does it too, and I don't know if it's for show or not. I just seen an interview like 2 days ago with him when he was, of course, younger, and his lip, they were just asking him like, are you punk rock? Or you, what are you? And he was doing all his time. He's like, yeah, and like way more than like Elvis ever did. I don't even think Elvis. I think Elvis just did it for fun,
Yeah. The look of disgust. But yeah, he'd be a prime example of how behavior, you have to judge a person based off their baseline. Now, obviously, he doesn't necessarily feel disgust all the time. It's either he's so used to doing it, or maybe it's a predisposition. But yeah, with him, it's not going to be disgust anymore. It's just the way he talks.
Yeah, I think he looked in the mirror one day when he was younger, maybe just started the band, and he seen that he could do it and sing, and thought it looked rebellish, For real. I mean, how else could it have happened if it's not like a tick?
And what really got me about him is you actually start listening to his music. He looks like he should be in Motorhead or something, the black and the spikes and all that.
Yeah.
It's like this music's actually fairly low temp. I mean, it's actually, even upbeat songs like Rebel Yell, it's not, it's not that hard, really.
Yeah. Have you heard my story of helping Lemmy enter his PIN number into an ATM machine? So on Hollywood Boulevard, there's this bar. It's called the Rainbow, and that's where he drank every night. He used to drink there so much that he bought the building that was kitty corner from the Rainbow, so he didn't have to drive home, and that was like where he went.
Wow.
Well, there's the ATM, the Roxy. Have you ever heard of the Roxy? It's kind of a famous place. The Roxy's right next door to the Rainbow, and there was an ATM at the Roxy, and I see him like stumbling out, and I'm with some friends, and we're walking, and I just hear him because he was a mainstay there, so I seen him there all the time. I mean, we were never friends. I never said, hey, let me, I'm a big fan. Never did any of that. And he was super struggling with his pulling money out. And I just asked him, like, I go, hey, Lemmy, do you need some help with that? He's like, will you enter the fucking 3214 for me? I was like, absolutely, brother. And I did it. And the money came out. And I walked away. Isn't that crazy?
Is that down by a Whiskey a Go-Go or?
Whiskey's a little farther down. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Like all those clubs are within like a 4-mile radius. I mean, maybe even smaller than that, going from south to north, it's, Santa Monica, Sunset, and then Hollywood Boulevard. And then there's like, like Laurel Canyon. And then I would say Vine, that whole square, all those clubs are there. Gazzari's, Whiskey, the Troubadour, the Roxy, Club Lingerie. Those are all like the famous places where the Doors played and, where everyone played, Guns N' Roses, Lines and Noses. That's what I used to call them. Lines and Noses.
Not a bad analogy.
Yeah.
I do hope you have yourself an awesome day.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Try to rock. Can you rock a wedding? I guess you really can't. Maybe you could walk it, do Chinese food. Oh, yeah. I mean,
I wish I could do that with my lip, but I can't. Rock inside this, mama, baby mama.
You have a good day.
All right, man. Thanks, Benji. Wow, that was awesome. I've been trying to get him to come on for a long time, and that was just kind of like, last minute. But hey, guys, thanks for hanging out with this convoluted show today. I really appreciate you guys for coming out. For coming out, for signing on, for coming, because we've been talking about music for this past half hour. I'm like emceeing a band place, club, whatever. But guys, thanks for coming for real. I might redo this subject again, not the music, but the original topic. I might redo it again when I'm not running late and feeling rushed. But remember, guys, try to help someone that might need a hand up or a compliment or just an I love you. I know that they will appreciate it. And you just never know. You just never know, man. I always think of my friend Christina in these moments. That I spent the day with her before I lost her. And I always think, what could I have said? Could I have made her feel better about herself or came up with a plan for her to, for her to identify her purpose? I don't know, but you just never know whose life you might save. I guess I'll just say that, man, I do effing Samsplain. There's no doubt about it. Bye guys. I'll start to respond.
Oh wow, well this has been a journey for us, like a journey through from legal troubles to mental health issues to my own struggles to your struggles, sharing your struggles with me. I appreciate you and thank you for that. Oh yeah. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows, from Morning Mayhem or the Random Nighttime Show. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows, from the Morning Mayhem shows or the Random Nighttime Shows. My people from recovery to legal trials, hoping unity is what we're speaking about. It's a long way to the promised land. All my people understand that this land is our land. One nation under God and ain't a thing changed. This ain't that and that ain't this, not the same thing. I'm about to bust a move, this a new groove, kinda like a mission, not the Blues Brothers, but good night, good morning, mega listeners of the After the Bar shows, from Morning Mayhem or the Random Nighttime Show. Good night, good morning to the listeners of the After the Bar shows, from the Morning Mayhem show or the Random Nighttime Show. I can feel it, it's a new day. We got a long way to go, don't lose faith. Don't let the mind games change you. What you see on TV is not always true. You could be anything you want to. I don't know about you, but I am not who I used to be. Not who I used to be, no. Oh, oh, oh. like the listener.